let's go ahead and get started. So today's lecture is all about how to format and improve your research paper writing and so on. As college students, you're going to be writing several of these papers. You may have to do them in one of several formats. It could be APA, it could be MLA. Those are the two main ones you'll come across. For my studio component, which is essentially a master's thesis, I had to do it in ACM formatting. And there's also IEEE for people who are in computer science and electrical engineering and other such things like that. It's just a whole bunch of formats, and which one is used is going to depend on your major and your instructor's preference. So getting started with styles. These are found on the Home tab of Microsoft Word. You see these here. And you can leave these as default and use them however you want, or right-click and you can modify the style, and you have the name, the type of style that it is, and general things, your fonts, your decorations, weight, etc., etc. So if you want to set a default style for, say, paragraphs in your paper, you can do it through here. And when you're done, press OK. To change line spacing, this is very easy. Thankfully, this slide has it shown on as a screenshot for us. So you come down to where you see the lines and the up-down arrow. You click that. Most of your research papers are going to call for double-spaced font, so you would click the 2.0 here. If you need something a bit more advanced, you can choose line spacing options from this drop-down here. And what is this for? Remove spacing. This is another simple thing that you can do. You have down here, add spacing before paragraph and add spacing after paragraph. Usually you're going to want to click the remove spacing after. This is the default, and what it does is it puts about a quarter or half line worth of space at the bottom of every paragraph. So there's this huge bit of empty space. And in most research papers, you don't want that. And so it's in the same place as for your general line spacing. You want to go to the Home tab on the ribbon under Paragraph. To update a style, when you have some text that you have modified manually, let me go back into Word real quick. I'll show you this here. So say you've decided, okay, this bit of text here, I want that to be 16-point font and in impact. Say you're doing it for a flyer, and you want that to be reflected for paragraphs in your flyer. Well, you select the text that you want, that has the style you want, come up here, right-click, and update normal to match selection. And that will just apply the styling that you have provided and make it the style for this setting. Inserting a header. This is very quick and easy. you want to go to the Insert tab. And here you have all these different gadgets and things you could throw in. And you have headers. Click that and it'll bring down this little menu. And you can do top left, left, middle, right. You just have a whole collection of options that you can use. In general, I will go with this here. You can come here, you can, I like to use this instead of just typing in the first few lines for like name, class, number, etc. So I might do 1 for module 2. Very nice. It saves you room on your page because it's above the margin. It's just a helpful thing. And of course, while you're in here, you have your header and footer tool design. You have a bunch of different options here that you could take advantage of. We're not going to go into too much detail on these. Feel free to explore what these do on your own time. These can all be very helpful. And when you're done, you can just close header and footer. That's probably how your assignments are going to expect you to do it. Another option, you can double click inside the header to enter it, and then double click outside it to close it. Again, your assignments are probably going to expect you to use the buttons on the ribbon. But just keep that in mind for quicker access. Right aligning a paragraph. This is very simple. We come here to the paragraph section of the home ribbon, and we've got all these options. Default is left align. You can also center. Right align is right here. And then you have justify. This took me a little while to really understand what's going on. What this does is, as it shows on the icon, your left and right margins are smoothed out. They are both even. And so an equal amount of space is placed between letters or between words to ensure that everything is like on the edge of the margin. So one line might have very short spaces, just enough you know that you're going between words, whereas another one might look like it has several spaces in between it. That can be handy if your paper calls for multiple columns. Inserting page numbers. Want to click header and footer tools design. So we will go in here. Let's go back to the inserts. Let's see, will it work with us here, or do we have to? No, it's going to try and do another one. Let's see. Okay, now. Oh, we can come here to edit header. And that will take us to this. And if we want to insert page numbers, well, looky here. We have a page number entry right here. You can do top of the page, bottom of the page, on the margins, several options. In general, what you'll find is you're either going to do top of the page in the left or the right. I personally prefer right, but what you do is going to depend on what the formatting and your instructor's preference call for. So moving back to, okay, I've already shown you this. Just click the close header and footer. So let's do that. So click and type. This is just positioning your cursor where you want it and typing what you need. You've already done this. You know how it works. Displaying rulers. This one is something I never use, but I will show it to you anyway. You may never use it. You may find a use for it yourself. So what we want to do is come over to View. We just click the ruler box. And from there, you have these markers here. You can use this for your indentation. Drag it over. So if you want 1-inch indents, you just drag this little hourglass looking thing over to the 1. And you have this here. You can do the same thing on the right side. And that's just what I've told you already. For this, I just use Tab. I just press the Tab key. If you don't know where it is, it's just above caps lock. And when you are writing in Microsoft Word, it recognizes that as the indent key. So that's why I never use the ruler. It's because it's just so much easier for me to just press one key. For auto correction, I'm sorry, that I don't know if you heard that motorcycle outside. It distracted me. I apologize. For autocorrect, your install of Microsoft Word will likely do it for you automatically. But let's just say, for example, I type in the word Monday. It auto capitalizes it for me. Now, if I were to hover my mouse over, you see there's a little blue marker here. Drag your mouse over that, and this appears. We have some options. You can undo the autocorrect if you don't want that to be changed for you. You can stop autocorrect for the particular rule that was invoked. In this case, it was capitalizing names of days. Or you can change the options. We'll get to more on the autocorrect options later. There was something else to point out here. Does it say? Yeah. No. Okay. And there is the here. Okay. The autocorrect options button. These are all over the place. It's hard to remember the order of everything. So to get to autocorrect options a different way, the way your assignments may expect you to do, you come all the way down here in the File tab, click Options, Proofing. First, you have this autocorrect heading here. Click Autocorrect Options, and this will give you a whole bunch of things you can mess with to fine-tune autocorrect to your liking. By default, all of these are turned on, I believe, but I do not like for first letters to be auto-capitalized. Same goes for table cells. But things like names of days, things that should always be the way that they are. Accidental use of caps lock. I can be really bad about doing this, so it's handy that this is a rule that exists, and double capitals as well, because I type fast sometimes and it messes me up from time to time. And you've also got rules here. There are a ton of them. And if you want to add more, you can add more just by going to these boxes here. You have replace. This is your incorrect text. and width is the text to replace it with. And once you're done, okay. You don't want to press cancel because obviously that's not going to save your work. And we just covered how to do an entry in autocorrect. Your bibliography style, again, this could be APA, MLA, ACM, depends on what your assignment calls for. And the way we change that is not review, but references. When we come over here, we see style. It is set to MLA. In general, I personally prefer APA, so I like for Word to default to that. And most computer science professors seem to prefer APA. So if you're in computer science, get familiar with this, but also get familiar with...
I got a question. So okay. What does that do, changing the style?
Okay.
Is it like correctly formatted to that APA or what?
In theory, that's what it does, but it's not perfect. Word will make some errors here and there. But when you go to insert a citation with all the necessary, because all you're doing when you insert a citation with Microsoft Word's tools is you're just filling out a form, and then it places everything as needed. But
where do you keep the citations at?
I'll get to that in a second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're getting there. It's all good. I don't know why they decided to start here. But yeah, IEEE, this is another one to get familiar with. But ideally, you should learn how to write citations by hand. That is the ideal way. You're less likely to have little errors and dumb things that Word might try to do automatically for you. And also some styles aren't here. Like I mentioned ACM a few times already. As you saw, ACM is not a style that's here. Probably because ACM gets updated somewhat regularly from what I've seen, but I can't say for sure why. And now to insert citations. We want to click the Insert Citations, add new source, select our type of source, and then fill out the form. I'll quickly show what that's like. You're going to be doing this a lot. Just as an example, my studio component paper had something like 35 sources. Some papers have more. I've seen papers with up to 200 sources. Throughout undergrad, the most you're probably going to see, I would guess, would be something like 15. But you want to come down here to add new source. You have a bunch of these here. You can do books, journals, conferences, videos, a bunch of things that you can reference. It's just, as an example, use a book reference. And I'm just going to enter something silly into these as a demonstration. For the author, if you have multiple authors, you want to separate them with semicolons. If the author is an organization, that's when you click the corporate author checkbox and enter your author into this line instead. We come down to title. You don't have to worry about italicizing or putting it in quotation marks. Word's formatting will do it all for you in theory. And so you enter all of this information. And once you have filled out all of these, or as many as you possibly can, we click OK. And so this will appear here. This is your in-text citation. This goes at the end of whatever, I lost my train of thought. This goes at the end of whatever you are sourcing. Like you have your text that is referring to a particular source. When you are done referencing that source, at the end of that sentence, that's when you throw in this in-text citation. If your entire paragraph references a source, then you need to end the paragraph with it. Even if like 3 paragraphs in a row are all pulling from the same source, you should end each of those paragraphs with this in-text citation. And the easy way to do that again, you come back up to Insert Citation, and hey, this is here. Just click this, and it'll drop it in again. Inserting a footnote. You may have to do this for some papers. If you somewhere down the line decide you want to write your own textbook, you're definitely going to need these. And these are in the References tab once again. You just come here, click this, and hey, there's your footnote. I am going to undo that. I think you've already had to use the undo and redo buttons. For convenience, when a system isn't expecting you to do things a particular way, you can hold the Control key on your keyboard and press Z to undo, or Y to redo. So that's Control Z and Control Y instead of having to go up and mess with the undo and redo buttons respectively. Inserting a citation placeholder. What this amounts to is inserting an in-text citation, but not inserting the full reference. You could come back and do that later. So we come here, add new placeholder, and this simple dialog box will appear. And all you have to do is enter what your placeholder is supposed to look like, your in-text citation. So I'm just gonna make up a name and a year. And it's like Gumby 2020. What's it telling me? It's not letting me click. Oh, okay. You do not enter a year. You'll do that when you do your full reference. So for now, we just do Gumby. And there's you another in-text citation. And we'll come back to filling that out in a later slide. Does anybody have any other questions before we continue? I'm going to check my time and see if I need to pick up the pace. We're good. All right, so moving on. Modifying a style using a shortcut menu. This is really quick and simple. So we come here. When you right click, you get a whole bunch of stuff. You have all these down here, but to modify styles, you just use the style button here, and that'll bring up the style modifying dialog box. You can use that. And now to edit a source. Let's actually use a placeholder. You can click here. You have edit citation to edit this in-text thing, or you can edit the source and it'll bring this up. And this is how you can go into your placeholders and give them a full reference. And so you do all of you're filling out this form and then pressing OK. Again, editing the citation is just changing the information in that little box. So we can skip that. Counting words. You can do this in the Review tab. Come up here, and word count is this third from the left, this button here. Or what I got used to doing is down here, you have one of 4 words, or if you don't have anything selected, let me deselect, it'll just say 4 words. Click either of those, and it'll bring up this menu in the center of your screen. Right now, it's set to include text boxes, footnotes, and endnotes. You can turn that off and on as needed. What was the other one on this page here? Hiding and showing white space. All you need to do here is in this blank space between pages, you see the arrow becomes 2 up and down arrows pointing at each other in these little rectangles. You double click here and it removes your white space. Double click again and it shows it. It's another feature I never use, but I guess it could be handy. Inserting a page break. Usually if you can include the word insert in what you're doing, it's going to be found here. And page break, it's just this box third from the left. And what that'll do is it will create one massive block of white space, however much it needs, to push your cursor down to the next page. It's as simple as that. If there is text after where your cursor is positioned, all that text is going to get shunted down to the next page as well. Applying styles, we have, wait, what? Applying styles, let's see, click home. Okay, yeah, I was a little confused for a second. I was like, why is it doing this again? Yeah, you can just select from these, no problem. I don't know why it's covering this again. The insertion point in a paragraph should be modified. Yeah, when you change those, it's going to change the whole paragraph. I guess that's what it's just trying to explain. So, creating a bibliographical reference list. This will take us back to references. When we we have all this, and now down here we have bibliography. You have a few options. It's got one of these style galleries, but for our purposes, we're just going to insert bibliography. And that full reference that we wrote is going to be displayed here. And this is going to depend on what your style formatting calls for, or your source formatting calls for. Since it's APA, it looks like this. And a lot of them do look very similar. So once you've learned one, it's usually not hard to learn a bunch of them. To edit a source using the Source Manager. This is a handy tool that lets you look at your sources more in full. What we want to do is, where is the Source Manager? I have forgotten where it is. Let me look back at the PowerPoint. Pardon me for a second. Manage Sources button to display. Oh, I was looking for Source Manager, not Manage Sources. That's the problem. So Manage Sources is right here. And you see we have these on the left. These are, this is your master list. This is going to contain some saved sources from previous papers. And then you've got these here. Your placeholders are going to be marked with a question mark, and it's here where you can, another spot where you can edit them, fill them out, and then that'll become a check mark. Yeah, these are your current sources as it shows there. And this does not have an OK button. You just click close, and your changes are preserved. To update a field, anywhere in your bibliography text, display a shortcut menu related to fields. Click Update Fields, and what this is doing is if you have made changes to a source, Word will not automatically update them in text. So what you want to do is come here and you have Update Fields. And if any changes have been made, it will reflect them in your sources. Opening the navigation pane, we click View on the ribbon, and we hit the check mark next to navigation pane. So coming here, and we look to the right here, it's going to open this. And you have headings to browse your table of contents. You have pages. You can click on your page to jump to the one that you want. And you can come over to results to do a find for some string of text. And those are the main things for your navigation pane. To insert a citation using an existing source, I've already shown that. To move a citation, this is a handy tool so that you don't have to worry about removing a source and putting it back in. Say you wanted your source somewhere else, you just grab this little vertical bar with 3 dots, and you drag your mouse over to where you want your source to be moved, and release the mouse when you are happy with where it is. It may create some extra space. You can just backspace that out. To find text, you can use the navigation pane, or we can come to the Home tab. We have Find here. And what did that do? Okay, yeah, it just opens the navigation pane. And you can enter text. So, say we wanted to look for Monday. And there it is. And you'll find that it will produce these, and when you hover your mouse over, you'll see a little thin blue rectangle. Click on it, and it'll jump your cursor over to that instance of the phrase that you searched for. Replacing text is similar. We come over here, we have the Replace button. We click that, and we have the text we want to look for, which, since that was our last search term, stays here as Monday, so we want to change it to Friday. Oops. You have a choice to replace one. What that's going to do is it's going to find the next one from your cursor position and replace it. You can replace all of them, or you can just find the next one. Let's do replace all. And it replaced that. And, well, you can do that, and you're good. And then close. All very simple. When you go into the replace menu or find or whatever, it's all very plainly stated for you. There's not too much crowding of buttons and such. So it's very easy to do what you want to do. Using the Thesaurus, this is a very fiddly tool. You're probably better off going to a Thesaurus website than you are actually using the Microsoft Word Thesaurus, and I'll show you why. So say we enter the word light. We right-click on it, and we want to find some synonyms. And we have bright, lightweight, illumination, well-lit, and soft. Or you can click the Thesaurus box here, but these, it's like it's trying to find synonyms for any context. Maybe the context improves when you have a full sentence. I've never used this enough to really know for sure. But when you click Thesaurus, it'll bring up this whole list of options for you. And this is a bit more complete. It's a little bit cumbersome for my liking. I would rather just look it up on Google, but this is an option for you if you would rather use things in Word. According to this, fluffy is a synonym for light. Okay. That's a bit odd, but then again, I'm not an English major. I'm a computer science major, so I could be wrong for finding that amusing. To check spelling and grammar, first thing you want to do is press Control plus Home. The Home key is located above your arrow keys. You should have a set of 6 keys above them. The top middle one is Home. You hold Control and press that, and it will jump you to the top of your document. So say we're down here at light. I press Control Home, and now I'm all the way back here. And so now this gave me problems while I was going over the lecture for today, because spelling and grammar is supposed to be here. And I don't see it anywhere. Maybe this version of Office. Does anybody else see it? I sure don't. But
Are you looking for spelling and grammar?
Yeah, I know another place to look for it, but it's.
I thought usually, I thought it was in View or Layout. I don't know.
Maybe I'm thinking of an older version of Word. Let me check View then. I apologize for this. Like, I couldn't find that for the life of me today while I was going over things and getting ready. It shouldn't be in Layout. I could understand why it would be in View, but Layout doesn't make sense. Apparently not. Well, there is another way. You come down to this book icon. There are no errors, so it's going to give us this little dialog here. We just click OK, but if you have any errors, it's going to show them in these sets here. This is a much more complete spelling and grammar tool. I don't know where it is on the ribbon. I wish I did. Your projects may ask you to find it on the ribbon, in which case I am very sorry, but something is odd here. And it shouldn't be my version because I have the latest version of Word. This could be just an outdated PowerPoint. I don't know. Using Smart Lookup, I couldn't find this. It's supposed to be under References. I will look again. So let's select a word. A quick way to select a word is double click it. Well, let's go back to references. We have our table of contents, blah, 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 blah. Is this it? If that's smart lookup, then that needs to be updated. But that's the closest thing I could think of to what smart lookup is supposed to be, because it's not here. But let's bring this up and see if it looks like what they're talking about in the PowerPoint. So click references, click the smart lookup button to open the smart lookup pane. With the Explore tab selected, okay, does this have an Explore tab for us? No.
Also, I do find this useful when I'm trying to look up something in the for a little toolbar, because that tends to happen a lot for me. I would go to the search bar and it would search. Now sometimes it won't show up on the little search bar, but it's there. But most of the times, go to the search bar and click where you need what you're looking for.
See, and here it is. I'll be honest with you, I never think about that search bar because it's so far out of the way.
Exactly. Yeah. Sometimes I don't think about that either, because it is kind of out of thinking proportion.
Yeah. Good thinking. Apparently this is it. The search button, when you have your text highlighted, smart lookup and search, they both seem to take you to the same thing. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, thank you, John. To use researcher, it is much the same. You just come here, researcher, it pulls up the researcher box, and you can enter your search term here. So say, since I'm computer science, I wanted to look up something on artificial intelligence. And hey, look, here's a bunch of things I can read up on AI. I would personally recommend using a search engine over this, but that's just me preferring what I'm used to. You may find more mileage out of it. I don't know. All right. I could not find this for the life of me. I don't even know where to start. It says click home on the ribbon to display the home tab. If the show hide that button is selected, click it to hide the formatting marks. If the rulers are displayed, you turn those off. Same way you did before, go into view. Click the multiple pages button to display all 3 pages at once in the document window. When finished, click the page width button to return to page width zoom. All right, let's take another look here. So I don't have my markers shown. So instead, I just want to come to view, turn off rulers. And if it's talking about in here, so we have these, we'll get to those in a second. We have zoom, 100%. Oh, multiple pages. And I'm not entirely sure what the application for this might be. I prefer to have it just big enough that it entirely fits into one page. So this is about 81% zoom. I like to come down here and set it to 200. And that gives us just a nice big view of the page. But if you want to just have page width, then you can just click page width. Read mode color. All right, I mentioned read mode a second ago. We have these three modes. We have web layout, print layout, and read mode. So if we come to read mode, most of our stuff disappears. And we are mostly just left with the document itself. We come up here to view, brings down a little simple menu, and page color. We can come down here, select none, sepia, or inverse. I personally like inverse because light text on dark background is much easier on my eyes. Some of you may like sepia. It looks like old-timey paper. And to get back to print view, we can just come down here. Nope. And this little button down here, way at the bottom, print layout. And we're out of that and back to where we can edit. Anything else on that side? Nope. And now this is just showing what was displayed on the last slide. Oh. Question?
So question, is this just stuff on our project, or will this be on like our exam too?
This will likely show up on both.
Okay.
All right.
Gotcha, thanks.
Not a problem. Real quick, let me check time. I have 8 minutes to go over comments. Cool. So comments, I'm just going to say real quick, I hate them. They mess with formatting in my view, and I don't like that. But we're going to go over them anyway. You're most likely going to have to use them in your homework. So when you want to insert a comment, you select the text you want to use. We're going to stick with light. For review, we come here, we click new comment, and it'll bring this up. And you can enter what you want to say. This is a comment. So when you're done, you can, let me see here. I just double click out of it, and everything is shoved over here. This is what I don't like. If you have multiple comments, you can use the next and previous buttons to jump between them. If you want to delete a single comment, well, first off, if you want to, you can edit a comment at any time by just going into it. You can also reply to the comment. But if you want to get rid of the comment completely, you come here. Delete, this will just get rid of the one you're currently on. Delete all will get rid of every single one of them and bring your page back to looking nice. I'm not a fan of comments. I would rather just insert things within the text or highlight or something like that. But that is a tool that you can use. You may like it more than me. And I believe that covers all of these. Yeah, editing, replying. You can hide and show comments as well. There is a show comments button in the comment section of that ribbon. Yeah, so here we have show comments displayed by default. And just get rid of that. And now, even if you have comments, they're not there for you to see. You click them again, and pardon me, that was my alarm. Click it again, and they'll be shown. Deleting one comment or deleting all of them.